السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. إنه من يهديه الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. أما بعد. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states in Surah Fussilat, وَلَوْ أَنزَلْنَاهُ قُرْآنًا أَعْجَمِيًّا لَقَالُوا لَوْلَا فُصِّلَتْ آيَاتُهُ أَأَعْجَمِيٌّ وَعَرَبِيٌّ قُلْ هُوَ لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا هُدًى وَشِفَاءٌ, to the end of the verse. That verse had me thinking for most of my life. What does it really mean? If you read the translation and some of the commentary on the verse, it tells you that Allah is telling the people of Quraysh, if this Quran came in a different language than the language you Qurayshi speak, you would have said, we are Arabs. How could you reveal something to us in a different language? But then the verse continues and says, say, Ya Muhammad, say, this Quran for those who believe is hudan, guidance, wa shifa, and cure. If those who believe means the Qurashi, the Arabs who understands it, who say that if the Quran was in the non-Arabic, then قُلْ هُوَ لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, that means the people who speak that language, hudan wa shifa. What about those who don't speak the language? Is it not hudan and shifa? Is it not guidance? Then there is a problem here, that we need to understand better what Allah means by the word Arabic, Arabi. And if you go to the root of that language, it does not mean the tongue that Quraysh spoke. It means the expressing, we even say it today, يُعْرِبُ عَنْ نَفْسِهِ. He expresses himself in a very clear manner, in a very flawless, in a way that has no faults. And that's what Arabic in the Quran from beginning to end mean. It doesn't mean a language of a group of people. It means that it is clear, flawless, has no faults in it. How then does people understand that? To understand this, you have to go to what language is. I would refer you to some of the scholars that address this issue from our time and from the old, the scholars that well known like Ibn Faris and Imam al-Sayuti, and from our current time, Dr. Fadl Sam al-Ra'i and Dr. Omar al-Tayyib, who's a professor of language in al-Qura University, and many others that stated, now, the language itself, the smallest atomic unit for the language is a word, but not in the Quran. In the Quran is a letter. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses all the children of Adam and He says, أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنِ, He's not talking to the Arabs. He's talking to everybody. أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ أَمْ عَلَى قُلُوبٍ أَقْفَالُهَا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, the letter is the smallest atomic container that has a meaning. So when you look at the Arabs, who were the last people on earth who understood this language because it was the original language that was revealed to Adam. And that's why they were called Ummatun Ummiyah. The words that Allah has to use in the Quran, these words have to be an absolute words. In other words, language is defined by how you use the words. So, for example, we today use the word ummi, means the one who is illiterate, does not read or write. But the true meaning of the word ummi, as per the Quran, is the person who is ignorant of something else. So if you take our definition of the word ummi and you apply it to the following verse, you will be in deep trouble. قُلْ لِلَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ وَالْأُمِّيِّينَ أَأَسْلَمْتُمْ فَإِنْ أَسْلَمُوا فَقَدْ اهْتَدَوْا. To the end of the verse. What does it mean? Say, Ya Muhammad, to the people of the book. And I'm going to use the term that we use today. Ummi means illiterate. So tell the people of the book and the illiterate, are you believers? Are you Muslims? If they said yes, they are guided. Then what happened to those who know how to read and write? They're completely out of this verse. But if you use al-lisan al-arabi, which is the Quranic meaning of this word, then here is the translation. Say, Ya Muhammad, to the people of the book and those who do not believe in the book. So the people of the book and the rest of the world. Aslamtum, you become a Muslim. If they say yes, they are guided. Here the changing of the meaning makes it very interesting, makes it fit perfectly. Why? Because the language Allah spoke to the children of Adam is the language He taught their forefather. That language is in every cell of your body, in every single one of you. That's why Allah says, وَلَقَدْ يَسَّرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ لِلذِّكْرِ فَهَلْ مِن مُدَّكِرٍ. That's why a lot of people, on my own hand, a man asked me to get him the Quran long time ago. I brought him the Quran, but out of curiosity, I asked him, I said, what made you interested in the Quran? He said, I was turning the TV channel on Sunday, and I heard something that made me freeze in my place. This man doesn't even know what Salamu Alaikum is. It's one of the minimum little thing that a lot of people who don't speak Arabic know. He doesn't know anything about Arabic. Then I said, and what made you freeze? He said, I don't know. I didn't understand what was being said, but I knew there is an important message in this. That's why I called the Islamic Center. I read the Quran, and he became a Muslim completely on his own, just by reading the Quran. He does not understand a single word of Arabic. You explain that to me. When when you want to name something, وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا. When you want to name something, you have to know two things. What is it? And what's the functionality? What is it used for? The only one who knows all his creation, what they are used for, is Allah. So the naming of Allah to things like Ash-Shams, Al-Qamar, Al-Nahar, Al-Layl, is a name that would last regardless to culture, regardless to time, regardless to place. It will mean the same thing. If you use the Al-Lisan al-Arabi, it does not change. So how would Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describe, for example, the time is past, and we have now different means of transportation. We have trains, we have cars, we have planes. How would Allah express that in the Quran? He expresses it with one word. One word will last to the day of judgment and even beyond. Dabba. وَمَا مِن dabba. Dabba means anything that walk, fly, or float, or make any sound on earth. It's called dabba. One word encompasses everything. You need to understand when you read the Quran, don't read it. How many times I finished the Quran from beginning to end? Ask yourself when you read it. Why Ibrahim in Surah Al-Baqarah is written without ya, but everywhere else in the Quran is written with a ya? There is a difference. We said in the Quran, the letter that changes the meaning. Siyam in the Quran doesn't mean the same as Sawm. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَكُلِي وَاشْرَبِي وَقَرِّي عَيْنًا فَإِمَّا تَرَيِنَّ مِنَ الْبَشَرِ أَحَدًا فَقُولِي إِنِّي نَظَرْتُ لِلرَّحْمَنِ. He didn't say siyaman. He said, فَقُولِي إِنِّي نَظَرْتُ لِلرَّحْمَنِ صَوْمًا. Because sawma involves eating and drinking, not siyam. One letter change. Why is salah in the Quran written with lam alif sometimes, and sometimes written with waw? Why is rahmah written with open ta and closed ta, and so on? If you read the Quran, every letter changes. Know that the meaning here is different than the meaning of the other word, even though it's almost spelled the same way. That's how you would reflect on the Quran. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to open your heart and open all our hearts to understand this Quran. Of course, there is a lot of details behind what I'm telling you now, but that for the sake of time, we can't dig into every detail on that. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم. الحمد لله حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه كما يحب ربنا ويرضى وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد. I mentioned to you that Imam Sayyuti and Ibn Faris, well known in the tafsir al-Quran and the language, and one of the theories about the letters that the Quran is written with, these are restrictive, exclusive. From the day Allah taught Adam these letters till today, till the day of judgment. In other words, you cannot come and reinvent and say, I'm going to write alif in a different way. That's why it explains to us why there are Arabic words that exist in other languages. Like Abi, Ummi. In Chinese, Appa, Amma. In Korean, same thing. In English, Pa, Ma. That's why there are words. The Arabs didn't know it was Arabic words. They thought it was A'jami. And that's why some of the scholars said there are 275 A'jami words. And they completely wrong on that, because many other scholars said, no, there is no A'jami in the Quran, because Allah says, Lisanun Arabi. Like Zarabi. Like the word Surah. Jahannam. These are all non-Qurashi words, but they are Arabic words. The language that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught Adam. The language that he spoke to all the bashar. And ask yourself how the jinn, when he heard the Arabic language, understood it right away. Because it was more ancient than what Qurashi spoke. اللهم إنا نسألك أن ترنا الحق حقا وترزقنا اتباعه، وترنا الباطل باطلا وترزقنا اجتنابه، ولا تجعله ملتبسا علينا فنضل. اللهم إنا نسألك رضاك والجنة، ونعوذ بك من سخطك والنار. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم، وأقم الصلاة.